Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about how to avoid the weird side of YouTube. Yes, that's right, the weird side of YouTube. We've all been there, whether you want to admit it or not. There's days you go on YouTube and the lovely algorithm recommends some really interesting videos on the side and you get distracted, you click on them, then 2 hours later you end up in the YouTube abyss and you don't know how you got there. But today we are going to talk about how you can avoid getting there in the first place. So stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can be alerted to videos just like this. And let's get going. All right, so for anyone who's new here and they do not understand or know what the weird side of YouTube is, I'm going to tell you what the weird side of YouTube is. The weird side of YouTube is basically like just random videos that kind of have nothing to do with anything. It's just someone that's like, oh, I'm gonna set firecrackers off in the toilet or something just to see what happens. Don't do that. So don't nobody get any ideas. Do not do that. It's dangerous. But it's usually things like that. That is either really dangerous in nature, it's sexual in nature. It's just things that you're like, why, how? I didn't look for this. How did I end up here? Now, sometimes it's not always stuff that's necessarily weird per se, but it's things that you definitely did not look up and you really don't understand how you even got there in the first place. Now, there's several reasons for this. Sometimes the video that you're watching, the unintended video, it has similar tags to maybe the video that you were watching. And so YouTube kind of bases it off of those like similar tags. But sometimes YouTube just recommends some weird stuff. Let's just be honest. Like you're on there and then you see all the videos on the side in the little panel and there's always like 1 or 2 videos in there that are totally opposite from whatever you were looking up. And you're just like, why did YouTube put this in here? It's almost like they want to distract you on purpose, even though technically they're not, but they kind of just put something random like, oh, maybe you'll want to like, look at this. I know we've all seen the comments where someone's like, I don't know what I did for YouTube to recommend this video to me, but it happens. So without further ado, let's get into these tips. Number 1 is going to be set your intentions. So whatever your intended use for YouTube is, maybe this particular day you want to learn about real estate, or you want to learn some DIYs, or you want to watch motivational videos, or maybe you just want to watch cat videos. I don't know, but setting your intention on what you are using this platform for is going to help you out a lot, because anything that gets recommended to you, anything you see that has nothing to do with that, you won't even bother clicking on it if you're very focused and being very determined about what you want to look up. Now, even within these categories, you might have something come up, again, that's very similar to what you're watching, but it kind of has a very strange vibe to it the moment you click on it. So in situations like that, my best recommendation is to just click off the video and go back to your original search. If you just have to start over, start over. If your intended goal is to just kind of watch a bunch of randomness on YouTube, then hey, that's your business. Sometimes you just up for anything, so just know that when you're up for anything like that, you may end up on some videos that you just didn't intend to be on. So by setting an intention, then it helps you to stay on track. Number 2 is going to be create a queued playlist and or a playlist you can come back to later. So this kind of piggybacks off of number 1. It actually complements number 1, because as you're searching for content, if you're on your laptop or you're just on your PC, what you can do is you can add videos to a queue. So when you see the video on the home page, you can just click the little like bar, hover over the bar that's on the actual video thumbnail, and you can click on that. It says add a queue and you can create your own queued playlist. This is a awesome tool to use because it will really diminish the likelihood of you being distracted, because you already created like your own programming in a sense of whatever you want to watch. So it's just kind of like back in the day when we used to have like DVR everything. It's so funny, back in the day, it seems like back in the day because no one really has cable anymore, but when you had DirecTV, they had the DVR, and that was like the hottest thing, and people would DVR everything and just save it so they could go and watch it later. So it's like the same thing. You basically have created your own list of programming that you can watch at your convenience. Now, in order to save this so you can have it later, YouTube does give you the option to add videos to your watch later playlist. That's just kind of just a standard playlist that comes with every YouTube channel, is the watch later playlist. So you can add videos there, or you can maybe, like, say, create your own playlist that just says motivation. So any videos that are about motivation, you can put it in the playlist. One good thing about this is that once you're watching that playlist, any video that you don't really particularly care for, you can just delete it. And then that way you're just left with all the videos that you enjoy, and you can go back and watch those whenever you want to. Now, watch later is a good playlist to use for videos that you don't necessarily, maybe you don't want to watch them, of course, right away, and they're not necessarily related to the topic you're looking up, but they're interesting enough to where you're just like, maybe I'll check it out. And that way it's not going to disturb any of the other organized playlists that you have, and just something that you can come back to later on. And to be honest, I've watched everything in my watch later playlist, but there is like maybe right now about like 3 videos that I haven't watched, but I'm not worried about it. And I'm not concerned like, oh my gosh, like if I don't watch this video, it's not going to be there. Cause I think that's the other way that YouTube gets you, is when you're on the home page, so random that if you don't watch the video, there's a chance that video may not pop up again. So that can kind of entice you to want to click that video to watch it right then and there, but you don't have to. So just remember, you don't have to do that. You can always put that video in the watch later playlist, or if it does relate to a topic you're looking up, you can always move that video to the respective playlist that you've created on your own. And then that way you can keep everything in a nice order and a nice flow as you're using this platform. One thing I also want to say is when you do log on to YouTube, make sure that you avoid the trending topics page, unless that's what you are hoping to look up, is trending topics, because this is another way that you can get distracted. Like I said, if it's something you want to look up and you're just like, hey, I'm down for whatever, then go ahead. One thing you want to keep in mind is that any like entertainment type videos, you can also create a playlist for that. I've created a playlist for entertainment type videos, which I'm not really learning anything from them. It's just entertainment, whether it's like celebrity talk or gossip or whatever it is, because that's what half the stuff is on here, or like watching someone's vlogs of them going to Disneyland or something like that. I don't know, but that's a good playlist that you can use for things that maybe there's one day you just want to chill and you just want to watch like stuff that's entertaining. Again, you're creating your own set programming, so that way you don't get distracted. One more quick thing before we move on to number 3 is that YouTube does have a set of topics on the right hand side of the home page that says like fashion, gaming, and I forget what the other one is, but that's another area you can go to as well, because every video within those categories are just going to be that. Everything's going to be fashion related, everything's going to be gaming related. So that way, if you're not really sure what you want to look up that day, but you know that, hey, I want to learn something about fashion, then you can go there. And what I've seen, those videos are usually made by companies, which means professional companies, which usually means that the production and everything and the content, it's gonna have to follow a certain guideline, because they're basically corporate businesses. So the likelihood that you're going to run into a video that's kind of weird and there's just a lot of strange things going on, the likelihood of that is very low, just because of the nature of them having to follow certain guidelines and things like that. Not that YouTube doesn't have guidelines and people just totally ignore them, but it's going to be different than you just watching from an individual content creator that's just kind of putting their own stuff together and then putting it out, and maybe it does violate some terms or something like that, or it does include some really strange things. So that's another thing you can use. You can use the sidebar on the right side and click there if you don't know, if you're not sure what you want to watch but you're just kind of interested, you can go there. So number 3 is going to be set a time limit, which is a great productivity hack for any task you're trying to get done, is to set a time limit. So you can either take your phone or maybe the timer on your clock and just set it for maybe an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. And once that time is up, that time is up. So whatever you were researching or looking at, it's it. So now it's time for you to move on to something else. This is really good because when you set that time, it helps you to be more focused about whatever it is that you're doing. So the likelihood, again, for you to veer off and start watching stuff that has nothing to do with what you were looking up is going to drop significantly, because you know that you're on a timetable. Like, you set a certain time to get to learn some DIYs or whatever it is, or listen to motivation, and you know that once that's done, it's done, and you can move on to something else. It helps you to prioritize your time better, because the one thing you cannot get back is time. You can always make more money, but you cannot get back time. Once you waste 5 hours, you wasted 5 hours. So keep that in mind, because it's very, very easy to spend a lot of time on YouTube, because there's so much content on there that you could lose track of the time, and the next thing you know, it's like it was light outside when you started and now it's like in the evening and it's dark and you're like, whoa, what happened? So setting a time limit is going to help you. And the feeling that you get when you finish whatever you're doing within that time frame, maybe you get done early, like you just, I don't know, you feel so accomplished and you feel like you really achieved something, because you did. I mean, you were able to learn whatever you needed to learn, or if, say, it's a task you're doing, you were able to get the dishes done and clean the living room and do all this stuff and organize the bookshelf, and you were able to do all this within 2 hours or less. You're going to feel really good after that. So setting a time limit is going to be very, very helpful for you. So number 4 is going to be practice self-control. So even with all these tips that I'm giving you, it still does not change the fact that the algorithm on YouTube still recommends videos to you that you didn't search for. And they're going to continue to do it, because that's just the way YouTube is set up. So in order to avoid this, you have to practice some self-control. And I know that there's times where randomly clicking on videos, maybe sometimes you do learn something that you didn't learn before, or you found out about a YouTuber that you're like, oh cool, like I want to follow, you know, their content. But the thing about that is, as long as their content is in sync with whatever that you were looking up, it's fine. It's okay to explore and click on different videos as long as the content is what you were looking for. But when it gets to the point where the content is totally the exact opposite of whatever you were researching, and you know it's kind of like silly or dumb, or it's just random in nature, like that's where it gets a little murky, because it's like now you're starting to fall into that abyss. So that's how you have to be careful, because the moment you click on that video, YouTube, though the algorithm thinks, oh, they like watching these kinds of videos, let me suggest more. So then the next thing you know, you go to your homepage and there's more of those type of videos on there. Even if you clicked on it on accident, there's more of those videos on your homepage. So if you want your homepage to be more cultivated and have more of the content that you want to watch, and you want the algorithm to suggest more of the things that you want to watch, then you have to continue to click on those videos that make sense and have meaning to them. Keep that in mind. That's why I said you have to practice self-control. One thing I used to tell my mom back, way back, early 2000s, before any of this stuff, before YouTube, before social media, I used to tell my mom, don't click on the links, because all we really had was like our email and regular internet searching. But we would get so many like ads and stuff that would pop up on the sides, and it would just be like articles for like celebrity gossip and all sorts of stuff. So the whole idea of ads and stuff popping up to distract you isn't new. They just found a new way to like make that happen. So I used to tell my mom, don't click on the links. And I had to tell myself that, don't click on the links, because you'll be in your email, like really getting stuff done, really getting a lot done on the internet. And then here comes this random ad. And then you just get sucked in and you're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just click on it and see. And it's like either some celebrity gossip or something. Next thing you know, like you're so distracted, you're clicking on other articles to see what happened with such and such and such and such. So in order to avoid this, the best thing to do is practice self-control. Say no. You gotta say, sometimes you just gotta say no sometimes, and say no to yourself. Like, that's self-discipline, saying no to yourself. And that's very difficult, but you get better, and you get better with practice. So self-discipline, if you're struggling a little bit with that, just know the more that you say no to yourself, and the more you say no to things that aren't bettering you, that's not making you a better person, that's not getting you closer to your goals and to your vision, the better you'll get at it. It's gonna take time, like anything else. It's really, self-discipline is a habit. It's something that you have to gotta keep going. When it comes to stuff like self-discipline, it's easy to, like, in a sense, relapse, backslide, whatever you want to call it. It's easy to mess up. It's almost like working out, where they say a cheat day turns into a cheat week. That's because you didn't say no. You had one meal and then you were like, okay, maybe I can have a few of this and then I can have a few of that. So it's the same concept online, and it's the same concept with YouTube, is that you have to be careful that you're not like, oh, just one video. Oh, just, okay, maybe I'll watch this one. Oh, this one looks cool too. Because they know, I don't know, they just know. They know what videos to put up there to like get you distracted. So number 4 is going to be practice self-control and say no sometimes. Just learn to say no. Last but not least is going to be set aside some YouTube fun days. Now I know I just went through this whole thing and I said, you got to do this and you got to set this and you got to be disciplined and you got to, I know I've said all that. And then now I'm telling you to have some YouTube fun days. So let me tell you what I mean, because all work and no play is not good. And if you spend too much time having everything and every single day of your life be so super duper structured, and you have like this and this and this and this, at some point you're going to like flip. You're just going to be like, you're going to spend the whole day gorging on whatever. Make sure everything is in moderation and balance. The whole point is, in everything in our lives, we want to have balance, and we want to make sure that we are able to get work done and get the things we need to get done, but we also know how to have fun at the same time and set aside time for that, because you're just gonna, it's not gonna be good for you. It's not gonna be good for your mental health for you to just completely be all work and be one way, and then you don't have enough play. So fun days. So even on your fun days, focus on the things that you really enjoy, that make you happy, or maybe even like inspire you, or maybe, like I said, maybe it's vlogs. Maybe you're just like, all right, I want to spend a whole day, you know, watching vlogs of some of my favorite YouTubers, or spend some time watching some sports or something like that. Or maybe even if you want to add that to like a playlist, maybe all the videos that you were looking up that are things that you want to learn or something, you had all your DIY videos. So then at the very end, then you have your vlog videos, which is just kind of like the fun stuff. Or you save it for another day, but make sure you do have a day or set aside time where you do watch some things that you enjoy, hence the entertainment playlist. I'm not saying don't watch things that are fun and enjoyable, but just make sure that you have balance and that you balance that out. So just a quick review. Number one is going to be set your intentions. Number 2 is going to be create a playlist or add videos to a queue. Number 3 is going to be set a time limit. Number 4 is going to be practice self-control. Number 5 is going to be create balance by having some YouTube fun days. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hopefully these tips were helpful for you and will decrease your likelihood of ending up on the weird side of YouTube, so you don't have to delete your watch history. All right, guys, see you on the next video. Bye.